Excitement is at a fever pitch up on Old Rocky Top. A year ago, Volunteer fans were worried about their future at quarterback. Not anymore. Coach Phil Fulmer signed 2 outstanding quarterbacks in February, and today they added Waynesville, North Carolina standout Jonathan Crompton. We asked Rivals.com recruiting analyst Bobby Burton what he thinks about Crompton.
Jonathan Crompton brings a lot of assets to the table. I mean, he's a guy that can do a lot of things. He's a great passer. Really, I think what sets him apart from 9 out of 10 high school quarterbacks that are going to be blue chip guys this year is that he's a pinpoint passer. He's extremely accurate. He can throw all the routes. He's really a guy that can move the ball up and down the field. But more than anything, the one thing he does that really impresses me is that he's an outstanding leader.
Crompton reminds Burton of another great volunteer leader, but it's not who many might think.
Well, Jonathan's from Western Carolina, and I know every volunteer fan probably thinks he reminds them somewhat of Heath Schuler because he comes from Western Carolina in Swain County. But Tennessee's had a lot of great quarterbacks. They've had Casey Clausen here recently that was obviously a 4-year starter. They've had a guy like Peyton Manning, who's now the best quarterback in the National Football League. So they have a strong history. But really the one guy that Crompton will remind Vol fans more than any of those guys, in my opinion, is Andy Kelly. He's a guy that can do a lot of things like Kelly. Not a great runner. He's not going to remind anybody of Michael Vick, but he can get you out of trouble with his feet. And he's an excellent pinpoint passer, which I think Kelly could do at certain times and really move the ball down the field. If you're asking me who he reminds me of, it's definitely Andy Kelly, a former Vol quarterback.
With all of his accolades, Crompton isn't going to be handed the starting quarterback position. Ahead of him on the depth chart will be true freshman Brett Schaefer and Oregon native Eric Ainge.
You look at the variety of these quarterbacks that Tennessee has recruited, it's impressive. I mean, you have a guy like Brett Schaefer, who's a left-hander out of Deerfield Beach, Florida, who can move around real well. I mean, he is a guy that will expand the pocket. You can do a lot of things running the ball with him. Then you have Eric Ainge, who I think is a tremendous overall athlete, but also more of a true quarterback prospect. Then you bring in a guy like Jonathan Crompton today, who I think, in my opinion, is more of a pinpoint drop-back style passer that the Volunteers have been more accustomed to having in recent years. They've got the plate full right now with good young quarterbacks.
For Rivals.com, I'm Shima Carter.